Hey everyone, welcome to Deploy on Friday, our first live stream. My name is John Bristowe. I'm the Director of Community here at Octopus Deploy. Joining me is the lovely and vivacious Jim Pelletier. Jim, how are you, sir?
Yeah, really good. Wow, live, huh?
Awesome.
No
Yeah,
pressure.
live and and in the flesh. So I thought we would check out the live platform and give it a shot. I've been doing a lot of post production on these things, so they've taken a bit of time. So I figured, why don't we just do it live? I think it would be a lot more fun that way.
Great. Yeah. Looking forward to
How's
it.
your week been? How are things in the source code of Octopus these days?
Yeah, really great. I actually spent most of the week up in Brisbane.
Ah,
Went up, hung out with some of the team in Brisbane. Had a big chat about all things future Octopus, which was cool.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. I was up early this morning at 3 a.m. to do a webinar with Jeffrey Palermo of Clear Measure. We talked about
Ooh,
Azure DevOps and Octopus, which was a lot of fun.
yeah, awesome. That's mighty early though.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's okay. I'm over 40 now. Time has no meaning, so just the way it is. Anyway, so if you've happened to stumble upon this, wondering what is this all about, Deploy on Friday? Obviously, it's an homage to deploying on Friday. We, of course, encourage to deploy any day because obviously with Octopus Deploy, you have stable, secure, reliable deployments, etc., etc. But obviously, it's an homage to folks who deploy on Friday. This is a show where Jim and I talk about the latest tech trends and news relative to Octopus. So if you have any thing that comes across your radar that you'd like us to chat about, please feel free to let us know. We are doing this live, so you can go ahead and send us your comments, your feedback, etc. We'll take any questions, etc. But we've got a bunch of stuff that we have to show. Lots of great stuff has happened in the world of Octopus over the last couple of weeks. It has been a couple of weeks since we've done a show, so I think no better way to do it than to just get into it. So let's go ahead and do that. And I will kick over through the magic of software, over to this article by Ian entitled Redesign Tenants Overview Dashboard. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about the new tenants dashboard that we have in Octopus?
I've been watching this one come through the pipes.
Awesome. Did you touch this at all?
I didn't touch it. No, not me. Can't claim any credit.
Okay, excellent. So this is a new dashboard that we've designed for folks who are using tenants within Octopus Deploy. So tenants are a really powerful capability of Octopus, and if you haven't used them, you should check them out. They're a really good way of basically replicating deployment processes across projects, etc. And so this is the new tenants dashboard, and it's a wonderful, highly performant improvement over what we had in the past. So just to give you some context, this is what it looked like previously. So we had the nice data cards there. This was probably not very scalable for folks who had lots and lots of tenants. So the new one looks like this. And this is a blog post that Ian, who's a PM on the team, wrote and talked a little bit about what we did, the design that went into this, et cetera, et cetera. So that's fantastic, and I'm really keen to see how folks think about this. Obviously, it's available as an EAP, but should help you when navigating your tenants.
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Bill. How are you? Bill is an old friend of mine from Canada. It's nice to see you, Bill. So he's saying I'm interested in the advancements and integrations with Octopus and DevOps. So thanks for that. Awesome. Great to see you. So yeah, getting back to the dashboard. If you're at all keen, you can check out this blog post written by Ian. Goes into all the details there. You can expand rows, for example. You can take a look at, what tenants apply across the various environments that you have in your Octopus instance. And we collapse those, and you can get pagination and all that great stuff. So this is a great blog post and really goes into the highlights and sort of intent that went into this redesign. So that's available now up on octopus.com/blog. So go check that out. This was a interview done by Joanna with Dale Francis of Climavision. Dale is a director of product development at Climavision, and basically got into a conversation with him about DevOps, how it's applied at Climavision, and some of the things that they've learned while applying it, etc. So that's a great little interview there. And you can check that out, part of the ongoing series of Inside DevOps. Again, that's on our blog. This was an article written by Steve. Steve's a member of our team. He wrote this article entitled "Creating a High-Performance DevOps Toolchain." Now, Steve doesn't go into necessarily his guidance. Rather, this is a blog post which is a summary of a report that has been published by the CD Foundation. So if you haven't heard of the CD Foundation, this is available at cd.foundation. And yes, .foundation is a TLD. And so the CD Foundation has published over the years a number of reports on the state of continuous delivery. These have been coordinated through Slashdata, and they have polled developers on their thoughts and opinions surrounding continuous delivery. And the latest one that has been published is this one for May 2023. Anyway, so Steve's blog post basically does a summary of some of the highlights of how do you implement, obviously, a high-performance DevOps toolchain relative to that report. And so he basically identified some of the top learnings that were in the report and goes into detail as to what is valuable. Now, this is probably one of the highlights here. So those who use CI/CD tools are significantly less likely to be low performers than those who do not. And in addition to that, one of the things that I read the report quite carefully. And on average, most teams that were interviewed use about 4.5 tools in their tool chain. So in their DevOps pipeline, from everything from source code, build, etc., all the way to deployment, and then to monitoring, and then release management, and all that sort of stuff, they used roughly about 4.5 tools. What was observed in the report was those who were higher performing teams used more tools, not less, which was kind of counterintuitive when you think about it, right? You think, oh, more tools would cause more complexity. That's not the case. In fact, more tools provided a better experience going forward for those implementing DevOps pipelines. And so that was one of the observations that was made by Steve in this blog post, and also by the report itself. So and also obviously making sure that your tools are world-class and all that sort of stuff. But there are some things in this report that kind of contradict each other. Like, so for example, try to limit your tool dependencies, but that's more nuanced than using the totality of tools. So dependencies are kind of like the links you have in your tool chain, as opposed to a separate tool for a separate job. And so if you're at all curious, you can read this article that Steve has written. And in addition to that, I also did an interview with him. This is kind of meta now, so you get to see my face with Steve's face. This is available up on our YouTube channel, where Steve and I basically went through all the details as to what went into the report. And we basically, as you can see here, we highlighted the blog post, and Steve gave me his take on the order of things. So there you go.
So it's about choosing the best of breed tools that integrate well by not being dependent on each other, or something like that. Yeah,
because the reality there is that if you don't want to have, you want to have kind of your tools in silos in a sense, because if you have dependencies between them, those dependencies can break. And so it's good to have loose coupling between your tools as part of your pipeline. So here's a sort of typical, as Steve points out, a typical sort of pipeline you might see. So you might use Git, Jenkins, Octopus, Datadog, and PagerDuty.
Because all those are like a tool that does a really well-known concept in DevOps really well, right? Like artifact management. Artifact management's a thing. It's always going to be a thing. We're always going to have artifacts. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
So interoperability is important, and we espouse that greatly, but you don't want to have it too tightly coupled, because those links can be brittle. And so your pipelines can break if they're too tightly coupled. And so the idea is that once you've passed control from left to right, you're going to say, okay, now that we've built the source code and we're moving over to, say, a deployment tool like Octopus, that tool doesn't need to have a dependency on where that package came from, for example.
Totally.
It just has a package and it knows about it. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't talk backwards, like from right to left, but ideally, I think this is what they're saying, is that you want to basically try to limit the amount of linkages between those two worlds.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah. I like these things. I don't know about you, but I love the state of blank type of reports. They're always very informative, and it makes me feel good that I'm not alone. Like sometimes I read these reports and I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'm doing this right. And then you read a report, no, I'm doing it okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice.
So great to see there. And obviously something to take advantage of, obviously, going forward. So awesome. Hi, Joanna. All right. Next up, how to measure MTTR. Do you measure your MTTR, Jim? Do you know what MTTR is?
I think we definitely measure it as a company.
Yes, we do. Yeah. In fact, we expose this out through Octopus. We have Dora metrics integrated within Octopus. It's called Insights. And mean time to recovery is basically when you go from, hey, the build's broken, to, hey, everything's okay again, and everything in between there. And so MTTR measures basically an average, if you will, of when that occurs, how long does it take to restore? And so how you calculate this and how you utilize this information is going to be really important. And so this article, written by Steve, again, Steve's a prolific sort of writer on our team, talks about what MTTR is, why it's important, why you should care about it, how do you factor it into your pipeline, and where you might lie relative to other teams. So in general, you want to see an MTTR, that is rather short, so less than an hour. I believe you and I discussed this previously on a previous episode of Deploy on Friday, where we said ours is generally around less than an hour. I don't think we've ever been down for a very long period of time.
No.
But there are some groups that are. I mean, like, and what I mean by down is like a build is broken, for example. But MTTR, is something that is very important. And so Steve goes into aspects of this, which are pretty important. Have you heard of the SPACE framework? Satisfaction, well-being, performance, activity, communication and collaboration, and efficiency and flow. SPACE.
I mean, I could have easily heard that before, for sure.
It's not just Team City. It's not Team City Space. It's not Octopus Spaces. It's a space framework. So everyone loves their acronyms. I love it. So yeah, if you're at all curious, you can check out this blog post written by Steve that talks about how to measure this and how to, more importantly, apply it, and so that it's effective relatively going forward. Moving on, have you heard of the DevOps Engineer's Handbook? This is something that we have up on our site. You can go check this out at octopus.com/DevOps. And this is our Engineer's Handbook. This is basically a series of articles that we've written. Because, DevOps can be a pretty heavy thing to pick up and apply. It's more than just the academic side of it. It's also the practices. And so we provide an Engineer's Handbook, which is obviously our take on some of the important aspects of DevOps relative to that. And one of the things that we've recently published is this thing around monk metrics. Have you heard of monk? I've given you space.
No. I'm not going to claim the monk one.
Okay, fair enough. So monk stands for market share, onboarding time, NPS or net promoter score, and key customer metrics. So this is a mix of adoption and performance metrics that show you how you're doing relative to your customers.
Sure.
Yeah. So these are important metrics, obviously, as an ISV. You want to make sure that you're doing well by these. I know that we care a lot about these, especially NPS. We read our NPS reports a lot. Sometimes it's fun to read them because you're like, oh man, I touched that. I was responsible for that, and people are complaining, or they're promoting it. Either way. So generally, I think this is a score that's rated out of 100, and then that's your baseline, and then below 100 is not good, above 100 is good, et cetera, et cetera. Things like market share, onboarding time, obviously those vary, but determining your monk metrics are going to be important, and one of many aspects relative to DevOps. So you'll find that available in our DevOps Engineer's Handbook. So there you go. I know you're really keen on the monk metrics there.
I'm running through all these puns in my head, but I'm deciding not to go with any of them.
Perfect. I love it. Great. Yeah. The none metric. Nope, and nope. That's like when you put a no op.
Don't say that. Nope.
Yeah. No op. That's definitely a no op statement in my brain. I'm not gonna adopt this. So every acronym ejects one acronym out. So there's also PEBCAC, which is problem exists between keyboard and chair, which I've used
one of my favorites
from time to time. So
yeah.
For those who are following our YouTube channel, we have a new webinar that was done with Kinder Systems. The title is awesome: How Kinder Systems Increased Deployment Frequency by 2,000% with Octopus Deploy. And
2,000,000%.
I know, right? We asked them to put the pinky out, but no. So Kinder Systems is pretty well known across a variety of schools, etc., used for providing solutions for a variety of environments. And they talked about how they go about deploying their software and how they utilize Octopus as part of that, which is fantastic. And so if you're at all keen at looking at a case study per se around this and seeing kind of like how Kinder Systems was successful with this, I would encourage you to check out this video. And so you can see all the features that were used. And this was a live webinar that we did. And so we posted the recording up on our YouTube channel. So you can go check it out there if you're at all curious. They use Azure DevOps. You can see this speaks to kind of like the tool chain that we spoke about, right?
Yeah.
So they're using Sneak for security checks, SonarQube for static analysis for determining whether certain dependencies are the licensing around certain dependencies, etc. They use Azure Active Directory, multi-tenancy, and Octopus Deploy, other aspects like variable sets, insights, etc., etc. And then they deploy to AWS and Azure as part of their environments. So they use a variety of tools in between. So this was a wonderful example of what customers are doing relative to Octopus, and I thought it was fantastic. I love the title. The title was great. So. Awesome. This is a video that we also posted. This was done by Shane, who's a member of the team, on a new feature we have called Step Retries. Have you, Jim? I know you've heard of this, right?
I've definitely heard of this one. This one I did have a look at on the way through.
Yes. Yeah. So Step Retries, as you'll see in the demo, so this is Octopus, and if you haven't seen it before, but this is what it looks like when you're constructing a deployment process, which is basically the series of steps you want to deploy something. And so Shane is featuring a new feature we have called Step Retries. Now, this is a feature that is useful in a variety of scenarios, but basically, sometimes when you're doing a deployment process or a deployment, things might fail along the way. And it might be for a variety of reasons, right? There might be file locks, there might be flaky network, etc. And so a retry allows you to repeat a series of retries on a step, a part of your deployment process if so needed. And this was something that we didn't have built out of the box. There's a lot of customers who had to hand roll a lot of this stuff. And so this is a new feature that we've released as an EAP, and a video of that is available now on our YouTube channel. So you can check that out as well.
Yeah, indeed. Some cloud providers who will remain nameless will benefit greatly from Octopus being able to do this for them instead of their platform just succeeding the first time.
Name and shame. Come on, you have to. I'm kidding. So as you can see in the demo, this is an intentionally error-prone step. And so I think in the script, Shane introduced 2 errors intentionally and showed how it retries in the demo. So this is a new feature in Octopus, which is great, and I think customers are going to love this because we've had customers tell us like, "Hey, we've got a situation here where this depends on that, and then the deployment doesn't work, and then kind of things go south. And is there anything you can do?" And historically, we've had to tell them like, "Yeah, write a script and do health checks and stuff." But now you can just do this retry logic, and away you go, which is great. Awesome. So that about wraps it up for the week that was, or I guess 2 weeks. It's been a while since we've done an episode. Only 2 weeks, 14 days, and all this stuff.
A lot of stuff, though.
Yeah, I know. So lots and lots of stuff. But moving right along to some of the other news that kind of is tangentially related to Octopus. This was a blog post put out by HashiCorp where they're talking about a new CI/CD pipeline integration tool and I almost said step templates and templates for Terraform Cloud. So what this is basically a series of CI/CD pipeline templates for GitHub Actions and GitLab CI, 2 very, very popular build servers, obviously. You could call it, I say build server, just rolls off the tongue, but CI solutions, I guess, is a better, more accurate term. They do deployments as well. And so they talked about, why they're doing this, what the need is for this. And it's basically prescriptive. If you're doing anything around GitHub Actions or GitLab CI, and you're wanting to utilize Terraform as part of that, they now have pipeline templates for you to use as part of that, which is fantastic. And we're big fans of Terraform. Obviously, we have the Terraform provider, which allows you to provision Octopus through Terraform. We also have integration with Terraform in our deployment processes as well, which is great. You can stand up infrastructure within the context of a deployment process. We love it so much that we have a configuration language as well that's closely modeled off of HCL as well, called OCL. But you can see here, this is Terraform Cloud Plan executing within the context of GitHub Actions. And then once that's run, it will stand up infrastructure. So they have a new CI tool called TFCI, and that's available as an open source directory here on GitHub. And there are templates for you to use as well. So if you're all curious, you can go check that out. That's a new blog post up on the HashiCorp website, which is fantastic. HashiCorp just keeps kicking goals, as we say in Australia. Like they're just putting out so much stuff. It's great to see. Awesome. All right, moving right along. This was a blog post put out by GitHub announcing the public preview of GitHub Advanced Security for Azure DevOps. This was like kind of did my head in when I first read it. I was like, wait, Azure DevOps and GitHub and all this, but it makes sense. I mean, GitHub and Azure DevOps both part of Microsoft. The advanced security aspect is the part that I like because GitHub Advanced Security has a variety of capabilities to it. So it does library checks, it does static code analysis, etc. There's a variety of ways in which this gets involved. But if you read through the blog post, it talks a little bit about how GitHub Advanced Security is now supported as part of Azure DevOps. So you can see there's an article written here where they talk about this. And there, if you're at all curious, I mean, from a practical perspective, this is more of the CodeQL side of things. So CodeQL is their static code scanning tool. I know you've used it, CodeQL, and it supports a variety of languages like Go and C# and TypeScript, etc. And it will just do a static analysis for a variety of rules that you may have broken, etc. It does secret scanning as well. So that's important. Obviously, you don't want to leak any secrets. So if you happen to leak API token or something like that by accident, I've done that once and I had like the fear of God run through me at one point. But luckily, and this is why I like this, is the second you commit to say through a pull request or whatever, it immediately gets rejected and the API key gets invalidated. And in my case, what I did was I accidentally uploaded. It was a dummy API key for GitHub. It wasn't used for anything significant, and it was one of those limited tokens. But it was amazing how quick GitHub snapped into action. Like, hey, that looks like an API key. That's not good. So it
actually batted the whole commit away, and you
100%.
If it had been a real key, you actually kind of wouldn't need to rotate it in theory.
Yep. Yeah. And so what's interesting about this is that there's actually this whole secret scanning is pluggable in GitHub. And in fact, Octopus is part of the program there. So if you see an API key for Octopus, we notify GitHub. Well, GitHub it can spot those things because we've participated in the program along with a whole bunch of other folks. So that's an important thing there. Dependency scanning, obviously, this is really important. You want to make sure that you're not susceptible to supply chain attacks. And so what this will do is notify you. And again, this is in Azure DevOps. This is very similar to how it works in GitHub. It will notify you, hey, there's been hot fixes and patches shipped for these dependencies that you have in your list, whether that's package as JSON or whatever. And you might want to resolve those dependency warnings, etc. Code scanning and other features of the like. So that's now available as part of Azure DevOps. And I know we have a lot of customers who use Azure DevOps. Likewise, they use GitHub. So that's great to see that they're extending that out.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would have been able to tell what that was about from the title. That's great. Glad we went through
it's like nuts and gum together at last. I was like, what? I don't know what this is. So no, but like I'm a huge fan of this. Like all these tools that have come out, Dependabot sometimes is a bit chatty. So if you're using Dependabot on GitHub, it can be a little bit chatty. Like, hey, there's a new dependency. Hey, there's a new dependency. Hey, like I get it. I got it. All right. So leave me alone. So anyways, great stuff and great to see that integration with Azure DevOps. Fantastic. I chucked this one in for you, just for you, Jim. Rider EP. There's an EAP available for Rider EAP 2 for 2023.2. And so they've added hot reload for Maui, which is a framework, obviously, for .NET. I know you don't care about that because you're not doing device-oriented, but it is something that people are doing. A reworked build tool window and improvements for source generators, which is, if you're utilizing, can be really nice. So reworked build tool window. So this is what I know that pops, just shines right through. So this is the new build window that they're working on for Rider. I don't know if you can see
that
it,
is
but
that is heaps better.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit of contrast there.
Yeah.
You get categorization of errors based on the project type, which is good.
Yeah.
So definitely some things worth there. We'll skip the YAML hot reload. We don't need to worry about this. Colorized instances. So you can now navigate between all your open projects by color.
Yeah, I'll take that.
So you have two different projects now. Is this something you might use?
Yeah, I'd use that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Improvements for source generators. Obviously, this is targeting Roslyn. I don't think you're not using source generators, are you?
I don't, but well,
okay.
Yeah. We always talk about it. Maybe this will get us across the line somewhere.
It's a cool feature. I like the concept. I get the concept of the source generators. Like I totally get it. I'm like, yeah, I'm on board 100%. But then you go to use it and you're like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't think you want to use it too often either, to be fair. So,
right. Okay. That's fair.
With great power.
Yes. Yes, I got you.
Cool.
Settings sync plugin. So you can now sync your settings.
One day we're going to go through one of these articles and what's going to be in there is live sharing for Rider.
Okay.
And I'm going to be really happy so that I can do my pairing and mobbing through Rider.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, just use VS Code. Come on.
VS Code's great. Sometimes there is a bit of a ceiling on the complexity of a solution that it can handle well, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So anyways, all the features are listed there, and I checked this one in just for you because I know you use Rider. So there you go.
Awesome.
I'm going to skip this one just for a second here. Did you watch Build at all?
I didn't.
Oh my god, there were so many announcements that came out. It was hard to keep up. I haven't been able to get through hardly like 10 of the videos that have been published. And so Microsoft Build was just recently hosted, if you weren't aware. This is Microsoft's big developer conference. It's held annually in Seattle. I've been to it. I know. Have you been to Build?
Never been.
Held at the best conference center because it's got that stairway to heaven, so to speak. So half of the conference center is like this giant. So Seattle's conference center has got this one section of it. It's got probably the biggest escalator you've ever seen outside of the Moscow subway. It's got this, and then sitting next to it are these giant stairs that are made for giants, I guess. But people sit there, etc. Anyways, just an aside. So they recently hosted Microsoft Build, AI everywhere, obviously. AI. Yep.
Inject AI. Yes. Just sprinkle. Just add AI.
These aren't real people. These are all generated by Midjourney.
Well, they don't sound like real topics, so. Yeah.
I'm kidding, of course, but lots and lots of stuff to cover there. Lots and lots of topics. A lot of the highlights that are mentioned there. I mean, I didn't have the time to go through it all, so thankfully someone at The Verge did. So this is all the news and announcements from the developer conference you need to know. And so they went through it and said, finally you can view all your saved Wi-Fi passwords in the latest Windows 11 preview. Windows 11 is getting a force quit option to quit apps using the task manager. This is something we've had in the Mac for a long time. I don't know if this was something you wanted or not, but
no, it's not. Yeah, anyway.
Okay. Ahoy matey, Windows 11 will soon have native RAR support. This would be really exciting if this was 1997.
Yeah, this is a really weird list of stuff.
That's right. So RAR, everyone is RAR is like zip. It's a compression archive format, and for the longest time, people would ask like, why isn't RAR natively supported? And so you would always have to download WinRAR, and it was this really funky icon with purple icons and all that sort of stuff. And you're like, okay, whatever. And so now they've added support for it, and I don't know why this took so long, but there you go. So you can now do it. So. Windows 11 will try and fix the fragmented mess of RGB lighting. I don't know what this is, but
no, is that like for gamer keyboards and stuff?
I think so, possibly. Could be something related to that. Like I'm not sure. So,
all of your keyboards can flash in the same rainbow pattern.
That's right.
That's right. Synchronized. Yeah.
So yeah, you can tell like there's a lot there, right? So Windows Copilot was announced as well. This is like the AI personal assistant for Windows 11. This was a big one. The Microsoft's DevBox. These are cloud-powered workstations. So a lot of developers talked about this. In fact, I actually made reference to this article here. Turbocharge your Visual Studio experience with Microsoft DevBox. Have you heard of this? Microsoft DevBox?
No.
Okay. So it's a managed service that enables developers to create on-demand, high-performance, secure, and ready-to-code workstations in the cloud. So I think if I click on this, let's see where this takes me. This will be interesting. So this is the DevBox preview, and you can get pre-configured project and task-based dev boxes, and these will be hosted and then synced, I would imagine, through VS Code at some point, but I could be wrong. All the horsepower is hosted in the cloud, and so you can stand up these environments, provision them quickly, and then you're ready to go from there. And so obviously this is keying off of the infrastructure provided by Azure, which is...
Any clues on pricing on those things?
Let's take a look. Pricing, here we go. See,
I mean, an expensive.
With the second you have to click a button to see the pricing. That's request a pricing quote. There
Contact us. Yeah, of course.
Yes. All right. So 50 cents an hour for 4 vCPU, 16 gigs of memory. That's not too bad, actually. Yeah. What's that? That's like $12 a day. Well, you're not coding for 24 hours. Come on, So
well, not all.
No,
not
maybe you, Jim. Maybe you're coding 24 hours a day. I am
that's
nothing
not healthy.
but,
don't do that.
That's right. So let's take a look at, let's have fun. Let's go to Australia, because that's always where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So we pay a little bit of a premium there, 62 cents.
And then
there you go.
Australian dollars as well.
Oh, I know.
Double it.
Yeah.
Double it.
No, that's okay. You don't have to help us. That's fine. DevBox storage.
Is that Copilot for Azure pricing?
I don't know. You're asking me too many questions. Now I'm getting afraid. I don't know. But this is the DevBox infrastructure. I think it is interesting, because I think one of the challenges, as you are, please, I know you want to help. Please just go away. I think this is a common problem, right? You stand up a new instance of a developer machine, and you have to look at the sky and say, okay, why am I doing this? And this is tough. And then this is why VPC got so popular, right? I can just trash my instance, restart, and away I go. Snapshotting, etc. DevBox is like the cloud version of that. So we can now stand up these instances really quickly, along with configs, and away we go. I know that this is popularized by a variety of other platforms as well. Like there are plan files, etc., that people use for all kinds of environments like Mac, etc. But definitely one of the things that I think a lot of developers were excited for that came out of Build.
Yeah, it's interesting. The idea of paying for the horsepower as well, I think, is interesting. I'm getting less and less interested in having a really big laptop to carry around all the time. So
I would agree. Yeah. So fastest out of the box Visual Studio yet. Interesting. So this is opening up an example. So no VS Cache, computer pad, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what that's really telling me. It's faster. Less is better. Yes. Anyway, so there you go. That's one of the many things that was announced at Build. Build was mostly AI. Even the Windows terminal is getting AI capabilities. Not surprising. We've talked about this historically, how there are AI tools around the command line, which is great. Windows 11 adds support for Bluetooth's low energy audio spec. Hey, if anything, we need more support around Bluetooth. I hate Bluetooth. It never works for me reliably. It's always a bad experience for me. I don't know about you.
No, it's fine as long as you only use the Mac stuff with Mac stuff, and then you're cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
365 Copilot. Why do they rename it? I don't know what 365 Copilot is versus Windows Copilot. There's too many Copilots. There's too many cooks. Get out of the kitchen. All right, just give me one Copilot. That's all I need. So
I think I do need
adding
to
AI generated app preview.
I just can't even imagine what it is.
Bing is now default search. That's not surprising. So lots and lots of stuff there. I mean, good luck keeping up with all the news. I mean, it's just there's just too much.
Is it over?
Way too much. What's that?
5th. Is it over?
Just wrapped up. Just wrapped up. I was watching on Twitter this morning the folks who were leaving and stuff. So everyone was catching their flights and talking about what's there. And prior to Build, they had shipped .NET 8 Preview 4. So we're on the road towards .NET 8. So for those who don't know, .NET 8 is, I think, slated for November. They've got their roadmap published. up on GitHub. And they're publishing all these preview builds. And so preview 4 is now available. We've talked about preview 1, 2, and 3. And so some of the things here, new modern terminal build output. So as an example, oh God, you can't see this. Sorry. This is really hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in this way. So /TL, and you can see it does this inline here rather than just dumping everything, which is good. So that will help kind of condense things. So new output has been enabled using the /TL. I don't know what TL stands for. What does TL stand for? Terminal something?
Yeah.
Terminal logger. Calling it terminal logger. There we go.
Okay.
That's nice. That's kind of like what we do with the new CLI for Octopus.
Yeah.
So we do a little bit of that as well. Yeah, good. Oh, there you go. So /TL is another example. This is doing a restore. So you can see it's all doing it inline here. You don't have to pollute the entire log file with everything that's going on. And then it breaks. Perfect. So SDK simplified output upgrade. Simplified output path updates. I don't know what this is. Nah, let's just skip it. It's okay. Template engine, secure experience with packages from NuGet.org. We're integrating several NuGets.org security-related features into the template engine, especially for .NET new experience. Oh, that's good. So this is something where the CLI is pluggable. You can actually add your own templates if you want for the new experience. And so if you say .NET space new space something, and it's plugged with one of those plugins, then you can output new project types. So there you go. I'm just going through here. .NET add package, known vulnerability. Okay, restore, and lots of other stuff. Okay, so definitely lots and lots of stuff to check out. And .NET 8 Preview 4 is now available. So there you go. Check it out.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, lots and lots of stuff around build. I couldn't keep up. There's just way too much.
Yeah.
Well done event in terms of streaming. Like the stream was very watchable. I liked a lot of the sessions that were listed, and I watched a lot of them, and they did a really good job. Like it easily HD quality. You could see and hear everything. It was really, really good. I liked it a lot. So these are some examples of some of the sessions that were hosted there.
AI.
I know. All AI. Let me see if we can change the session type here to let's take a look at the topic. Yeah, developer tools. That's good. All right. So AI.
It's still AI.
I know, right? AI, state-of-the-art data retrieval, machine learning, LLMs, DevBox. There you go. That one might be worth watching. More AI. What's new in TypeScript? There you go. In case you're Anders Heilsberg. There you go. One of the co-hosts there. Let's take a look here. See what else. What else? Oh, Developer Joy with Scott Hanselman and friends. That's awesome. Hey, Clint Rutkus. Awesome. Let's see what else is there. Oh, I love these tips and tricks ones. These are great. This is only 15 minutes, right? So I don't know if this one's streamed or not, but yeah, definitely some of these ones are definitely fun to watch. 15-minute sessions. Short, sharp. I like it. Nice. Test automation with Playwright. I have not heard of Playwright. I'm sure I'm out of the loop. Do we need Rust language support for Azure? It's good. A little bit of a discussion there. Java experts at Microsoft. Boost dev time. Interactive tutorial, and so forth. So lots and lots of sessions there. All of them are available online. You know, I remember back in the day when Microsoft would host conferences, and I would catch one or two sessions because they were recorded and they would be published. I was like, man, I would give anything to go to these conferences. And now they're just like, you can watch them 2 times speed, full fidelity. It's almost better to be at home, right? You don't have to
100%.
Yeah, you don't have to like go to the lunch and eat like old lunch, etc. Like it's way, way better. So 50 Shades of Go, traps, gotchas, and common mistakes for new Golang devs. This one I liked. So there's the effective Go. Let's see if I can find it here. So there's an effective Go guide up on the Go website. So this is a great read. If you're doing anything around Go, it provides all the context there of things that you want to check out, things that you may want to learn. But the reason why I like this one is because it kind of goes beyond that and gives some other things that to look out for. So these are the total beginner sort of gotchas. Then it goes into intermediate. and then it goes into the advanced beginner, and then the brave beginner. So
the brave beginner. That's nice.
I know. So these are obviously the things that you have to be watchful for. I think some things you can't engineer your way out of. There's just things that you just have to do. But I like the fact that they're giving code examples in this, and you can see it's quite long. As soon as you see that scroll bar, see how small the scroll bar is?
Yeah.
As soon as you see it get that small, you're like, oof, we're in for a tough read here. So there we go.
That's a lot of traps.
Yes, lots and lots of traps. Now, that's not an indictment of the language. Before you get on your high horse there, Jim.
I was just making an objective observation.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So, yeah, if you're at all curious, you can go check this out. I think that these things are certainly valuable if you're at all curious about, these articles are a dime a dozen, of course, across all languages, but definitely worth checking out if all curious. So, cool. And then finally, to wrap up, obviously this one's kind of hard to navigate, but there is a new plugin for Backstage. Now, I think we've talked about Backstage before. This is a tool available from the folks over at Spotify. This is something that they built to this is around the sort of, if you're into the platform engineering ilk and you're wanting to maintain like listings for your backend services, your APIs, documentation, dependencies, etc. Backstage is a tool that can help. And as I said, this was published from the folks over at Spotify. I think this was an internal tool for a long time. It's basically a software catalog and a variety of other things. And they decided this is so valuable, you might as well publish it. Well, the nice thing here is we've had a member of the community, his name's Jonathan, who's published this plugin that integrates with Octopus Deploy. So you wire it up. There's a bit of, so the thing about Backstage is when you fire it up, you have to have a lot of dependencies. You have to have yarn installed, NPM. You have to have a lot of tools installed. And it's not the easiest thing to hold. However, once it fires up, then it's working. It's great. So to set this thing up, you have to obviously set up a few things, and it's not terribly difficult. There's a YAML file you have to update. There's a TSX file you have to touch, and then you have to propagate some values. But once that's all done, what this does is it will then propagate your deployments through Backstage. So if you look at Backstage at how it works, there's a demo that you can check out. I think there's a live demo somewhere here. I believe this is it. I could be wrong. Oh, no, that's their blog post. My apologies.
So this is not just here's your Octopus server and the version of it. It's like here's what Octopus server is doing with all your other dependencies as well.
Yeah. So so you can see here, you can barely see it. Let me see if I can do this. So this is the design. Sorry, this is the dashboard for Backstage, and Backstage has a pluggable architecture. So inside of here, there's a section where you can list. There's a section for CI/CD. And inside there's a section for deployments. And so what that means is you can then surface deployment data through Backstage. So rather than having to navigate over to the Octopus Deploy UI, you can have this all information surfaced through Backstage. And that's what this plugin does. It surfaces deployment data to Backstage. And so it's an integration that is enabled there, which is nice. Pretty cool. I like it. This is the demo.backstage.io. Let's see if there we go. This is what I was looking for. And so if I look at a project here, like say this one, playback order, you'll see there's this tab here called CI/CD. Now it hasn't been integrated here, but if it was, and it was integrated with, if you had Octopus and you had the plugin installed, what you would see is parts and pieces of the dashboard where it lists deployments and stuff. It would show up here in this one-stop shop. So a single pane of glass, so to speak, for navigating dependencies, repositories, docs, yada, yada, yada. That's what Backstage is. This is Backstage, basically. So if you haven't seen this before, this is what it looks like. And so you can list things like, here, what are my APIs? And then it will list them. These are, this is internal documentation, basically, or you can publicly expose it. What are my docs? So what are my docs for this? Allow me to explore and walk the tree, so to speak. And then inside of each project, there are other aspects as well. So things like, what are my dependencies? What do my docs look like? Yada, yada, yada. Now, obviously, I haven't wired this all up, but again, it's that single pane of glass for everything that you want to see relative to your org, which is nice. And so if you're at all curious, you can check out Jonathan's plugin, which is their plugin model isn't as great as it could be. It's getting better, but their repository is up on GitHub here. And then if you go into /plugins/octopus-deploy, you'll find Jonathan's work there. And thank you to Jonathan, who's a member of our community who built this. he did it unsolicited. He was like, I want to have this. And so we're like, great, that's awesome. So kudos to him for doing that. And I was really impressed by his work. So that was awesome to see.
Only Jonathan.
Yay. And that wraps up our first of many live streams of Deploy on Friday. So what did you think? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good. It was nice to have a few people drop by.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. That's right. We'll continue doing these, and we'll see if we can get some more folks asking questions, et cetera, et cetera. But this will be the path going forward. It will save me time from doing post-production, which is great. And then we can have some live conversations with folks. And if you're at all curious about, some things that are happening on Octopus, feel free to pop in a question. Let us know. We'll take a look at stuff. We do this every Friday at around this time. We may do it at a different time, but generally it's around this time. And it's just, two guys, myself and Jim, talking about tech relative to Octopus. So thanks for joining. And thanks, Jim. I really had fun on this live stream that we did.
Yeah, it was a good one. Can't wait for next week.
All right. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Yeah.